Good evening, everybody. We'll get started here in just a minute. Just getting a few more things ready. Hey, Bobby B, good to see you. Hey, Patrick. A mic check on this. Can you hear me okay? This equipment's gotten rusty. I haven't used it in so long. Some more lighting here. Got a little light here, probably too much for this camera angle, but we'll get started in just a minute. Appreciate everyone tuning in who came online last time, and appreciate people showing up tonight too. Been a little while since I've been here. Kind of busy, but I made it in this month. I wanted to do a St. Patrick's Day, but didn't work out. Didn't work out right. So, but tonight we're gonna do another wacky package. I didn't sort of plan it that way, but I have these cards I just got recently or a little bit ago from the same folks who do the Artists United sets, and this is a '70s theme one. I'll kill some lighting. It's kind of bright and shiny. I know exposure's a little high, but I made these '70s cards, and I was trying to figure out what I would do with the '70s card, even though you've always wanted these. The '80s turned out really well, but it's that '70s set, and I don't love the name because it's so close to that show, but you know, it's got the flower stuff on it and stuff. And I thought the first thing that popped in my head was there's a few GPKs, but we've done a few of those, and we'll do some more. But was this card here? Was Hipton from it's from 1973, Wacky Packages Series 4. It's one of the first characters I did for Wacky Packages when I did an online set back in 2017. So I thought I would work on him tonight and do this card. Be kind of cool. You know, if you're not familiar with these brand cards, we also had the science fiction ones. I haven't done too many of those, but they did this pretty neat 80s one, and they did an 80s sequel card as well. So still plan to do more of these. I have a whole stack of them, and I want to do some GPKs on these and stuff. But I like these a little bit better. But this one, you know, we've been telling the guy who produces them, and do a 70 set, do a 70 set, and I think there's a lot of wackies that could end up on these because that's predominantly when they were really popular was the 70s. But anyway, we'll get started. Just rocking this one out here. So get my lighting right. Looks super bright. Let me adjust that. Yeah, let me adjust our video on that just a little bit. Bring it down a notch. All right. See, that looks pretty good. All right, I have the exposure a little high, but let's try that. Anyway, like I said, this one's from 1973. It's a series 4. They released like series 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in the same year, so they all came out back to back to back, and there weren't that many cards per set, but all package parodies. And of course, this one being Hipton is making fun of Lipton tea. So all right. I remember doing this card. I remember looking at this character the first time and thinking, you know, and being one of the first cards I did, I was like, how am I going to kind of pull this off? So it's always a fun one to really go back to. I think in the end, I grabbed some colored pencils and went to town on it with a colored pencil, but tonight we're going to do it a little differently. And I did do this one in a more recent set, the old school 10 set. I recreated this one. So just going to feel out where I want to put his hat and stuff here. It's got this weird frumpy looking little hat thing, and I'll probably end up moving it around a little bit, but hey, it's all good. Bobby B, I've seen a lot of your work out there recently. Doing a lot of cool, neat sketch cards out there. I'd encourage everyone to check his channel out. It's Robert Ball, but it's Bobby B out there on YouTube, and he's got a ton of videos of some of the Valentine's Day set that just came out from GPK, and a lot of other GPK related sort of artwork. So cool artist to check out. Appreciate you being here, Bobby. Now let's see here. I'm gonna try to shift his head back a little bit. I lost a lot of real estate up here. I might want to move him up entirely. The only bad thing about these cards, they don't erase very well. Noticed in the past that I didn't go too heavy on this one, but I'm going to start. I want that to go higher. Yep, sometimes you just erase everything. It does happen. I can count on my hand, though, how many times I've erased the entire card to another character, though. I just got frustrated with it. It was probably more like 3 or 4 times ever. Probably less. But usually don't give up on a character, but I'm going to move him higher up so I can get a little more of his nose and his beard down here and stuff. He's got like a little flower, a little daisy that kind of comes up over here. So, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of wackies, I don't think the old school Series 10 set has come out to customers yet. I know they took orders and they're probably working on filling those, and I could be wrong about that. I looked the other day on eBay to see if anybody had anybody for sale. I just didn't see any out there. I did not pick up a set of them. I don't usually buy a set of those. Kind of pricey just to have a set, but I have plenty of Blakes. I have plenty of sketch cards for him. And he's got to look a little, I'm just going to put a placeholder here for his little peace symbol here. Let's see here if I can. For me, the problem with him is always making sure this hat is the right size. He's got like a little cap area here, like Shift Warrior D. See, it's not really Shift Warrior D, but it will turn out to be something different. It's got like a little black strap here. And it's got like the bill. The bill is the thing I always try to get right. I'll end up probably reducing it down some, but anyway, let's get it. Yeah, it's kind of jacked to the side too on his head, so let's see if I can make this a little more uniform. So yeah, I recently worked on some Garbage Chute Droid fan set cards. Hopefully coming out soon. Worked on one of those, and I think one of my previous ones from another set they're going to produce as a reproduction sketch card. So pretty cool news to it for me. So glad to see that set doing well. People seem to really like that property. And a lot of great artists are on that. So. Yeah, Bobby. So Bobby B had a question about do Wacky commissions so well? I think, the consensus I've had from other artists and myself and experience in the past is they don't really sell for as much. Let's reduce this down some. They sell okay if you advertise them. I have not been advertising any of mine actually. And I had to wait a long time too, as you know, there was a lot of delays in getting that set out. I kind of just waited on it. But do they sell well? They sell okay. They just sell for less. Like I've experienced that they sell for less money than Garbage Pail Kids do. It's just for some reason they're just not quite as popular. It's a generation back essentially that collects wackies, and they're just a little tighter. They're just a little. Their income is different, a different stream, I guess, than garbage pail collectors at the moment. So, but I've always found that they were a little more demanding about what they want in the cards, and they want to pay less. So I hate to say anything negative about it, but that's just kind of how it is. I mean, wackies for me are refreshing to do versus doing garbage pail kids all the time, and I do like doing the garbage pail kids, but like it's just cool to do something different, you know. I like them. I didn't know a tremendous amount about them when I started them. I knew they existed. I had some from the 92 set, and I had some knowledge of them from the 85 set, but I really didn't know how far back they went and how many there were. But package parodies are pretty neat. Well, we're going to reduce these classes down. yeah. So long story short, no, they don't sell as well as GPK. They do sell okay, and there's always that chance you'll get a hold of somebody who just loves the one you do, and if maybe you should do the ones you like and just sell those. That too. I think sometimes that's where people end up, but yeah, I've produced. I'll say my returns though. The returns I've done of these have been some of the best I've done. Like it really has forced me to put another level into them. So I've always been happy about that. And I'm going to stylize this one a little bit tonight. I'm not going to make him 100% like the original. That's kind of boring. Let's see if I can figure out where I want the nose here. That's your long-winded answer about it's okay, but they don't sell as well as GPK. At least for now, they don't. I'm glad to see they still do online sets for them. They just do the monthlies. They squeeze a few out here and there. Let's tighten it up some. I'll tell you something that was very interesting when I think talking to David Gross a while back. He was talking about this to me, but it's always interesting about wackies. Wackies are more complex for sure because there's multiple gags in them. At least the modern ones for sure, and the older ones as well, because you've got gags in some of the product description, then maybe of course the naming and the artwork, and then there's some other gags with how they do the measurements on the box, and every little part of that drawing has it's just got multiple gags in it, so it's more complex than a GPK gag, and thinking about that, that's how a lot of those artists think about themselves. They're writing gags. They're writing, that's the comedy of there, not just the artwork, but trying to figure out how the artwork is going to blend with that gag or that theme of that artwork. So it's always interesting to see. They really consider it to be a little more difficult to do, and I can see why. I can see why. So Hipton is pretty much a hippie guy, right? You saw a quick picture of him there. He's got these jaggedy looking teeth. I always like to get these teeth just the way I want them. I'm taking some liberties with him tonight, but I'm gonna get him a little toothy here. It just shows us about him teeth, kind of like a hobo. Yeah, yeah, I think the artwork's pretty good, especially the older stuff. Newer stuff's great too. David does a great job on all the new ones. I'm glad he keeps it. I really credit David Gross for keeping it alive, honestly. Um, but let's see here. The funny thing about him is he's going to have the shadowy areas of his face are going to be kind of purplish because that's kind of the way he was designed originally. So I like to keep that idea. So I even hate to not even just start with a colored pencil. And I have done that before. Just don't even use a pencil. Just start with a purple pencil, and go in here and do some of this. But I haven't drawn him in a little bit, and I want to just kind of start off with the traditional way I would draw him. Kind of slammed against the mortar here, but I want to be able to flip out here and do a little flower thing. I think I want to do that. We'll see. This little mustache here. Tone that down some. Still waiting to hear anything about the 2022 Wacky set. It was supposed to be a retail set this year. I think, as I've mentioned before, it's no secret. It's been publicly announced, but haven't heard anything from Topps or anybody at Topps about that. Tight-lipped about that kind of stuff. I know they're still having issues printing and getting things ran through the plant, so production is grinding to a halt all the time with different products. So hopefully we'll hear something soon. I would predict later in the year if it even happens this year, but yeah, here's the hoping for that. There's a little peace sign, which, you know. Got to remember too, all these guys in the in the 70s and 80s, a lot of them were counterculture guys, so they're drawing hippie and anti-war stuff. So I'm feeling this is influenced by some of that. Or they're either making fun of the hippies. I don't know. You take it either way you want to. All right. I'm just trying to straighten up some of these lines where I want them straighter. Sort of attach his nostril down here a little bit. He's a rough looking guy, but I want him to look at least human here. So the nose is kind of a little different. Where's his cheekbones? I mean, there's a whole thing here we'll take out, but let's get a little bit of this purple shading here originally, and then it's like some kind of lines here. There's eyes. So a little distress and some little wrinkles there, but it's not exactly like that. Make sure I get a little bit top of his glasses there. Originally, he's just pure and out from underneath this, so. We'll work on that with when I shade that. He's like the hippies Gordon Fisherman. That's what he looks like. Ish. Hipton. Message me in the chat if you think of any other 70s top, any like characters or anything that might be good for this kind of card stock. You have any ideas? Really hadn't been thinking about this too much. I forgot I had them for a while, but I think I bought like 20 of them, so I've got a few to work with. All right, so I think I'm about ready to do some inking there. That's enough for me to pencil with. Go ahead and align this a little bit. And then we'll start looking at some coloring. Let's see. And originally, remember, the background colors of this thing are pretty solid colors. There's like a, well, let's do one more thing. Let's not forget the flower, but the background colors I was going to say was like a yellow background here, and then there's like a red top to it for like the Lipton's tea bag box the same way, and the lettering is Hipton, you know, at the top. I might try doing the lettering on this one. When we do the wackies, they require we put the name of the actual card or the subject or something somewhere in the body of the card. A little unique. so people know what it is, but we always have to put like Hipton here. I'd have to put Hipton tea bags or something, or at least Hipton, or you can just write on the side on the vertically this way, just to get it in there. But some arts take more time. They actually try to replicate and do the lettering and do the artwork in the lettering style. So I've done it both ways. Um, I've done more just to get it done a few times, just to get it in there, because I'm not a big fan of lettering. But if you're good at it, this is the set to work on for sure. Let me see. If you're good at lettering and enjoy it, I think that's the biggest thing. Some people can do it, but they do not enjoy it, and I am probably one of them. Let's see if I can get these going the right direction. And this may not work out the way I want it to, but we'll see. Let's see. See, what I might do is go outside the lines here too. I like to do that in returns. When we have lines on a card like this on the returns, I like to go out and break outside the lines a little bit myself and erase these or do something, tear through the barriers so the character's coming more out of the card. And even so, even though I didn't come over this side and bring his hair out, sometimes I'll break out just on one side. And I still might. I still can erase that if I don't like the way it's going, but it's a little extra. I try not to do that on base cards or inserts because it just takes more time to either paint that or break through. I don't really want to do all that. But okay. Let's see if I can. Get this looking half decent here. I'm going to put that there just to help me visualize the rest of the petals, but I may take it away. I mean, it amazes me you're still online over there. I know the time just changed again over in the UK. And that's 100% good there. Let's just erase that and soften the lines here a little bit. Use a, let's pull some of this graphite off there. In fact, that's probably a good idea to reverse the whole drawing, is to pull some, lighten these lines a little bit. I tend to line kind of heavy, especially when I haven't done it in a while. The more you do back to back to back, the warmer up you get, the faster you get, the less lines you put too much graphite down. So, all right. Let's try to get this looking a little smoother here. It doesn't have to be perfectly uniform. The original was not really designed that way either. But I'm going to erase that. Keep it in the lines. I'm okay with that. Yeah, these are good suggestions. I'll keep those in mind. You're right. Those some good ones. Staying alive, and yeah. In fact, you know what? It's funny you say staying alive. I have one staying alive right here. One sitting right here. This is my wife's favorite character, and I did one of these for her back in the first GPK set I worked on. But yeah, here's well, this is from the horrible film poster sticker. But yeah, it's one right there. It'd be a great one. So maybe we'll do this character again on the other stock. So, yep, I was thinking about that one. Good suggestion. But yeah, and staying up late, I too feel more creative, and I seem to do more artwork at night. I do a little bit during the day when I'm smart about it, but I don't like doing it during the day that much, to be honest with you. I feel like other things are pending and in the way, so I can't really focus on my art during the day. So and since I do have a day job too, so that does affect that as well. But yeah, I honestly, to be truthful, I just prefer to work at night. Always have. So with artwork at least. All right, we're gonna try to make that work. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit these pretty quick with the lines. We'll figure out the rest. I think it's really funny about the ink. You know, when I first started back drawing again and lining and things, ink is it's usually scary. It's pretty scary for people when they first start out with. They're always worried about making a mistake or hitting the line wrong or something. But I'll just reassure you, if you do it enough, you almost get too bold. um, I don't worry about making these mistakes anymore because I know that what I can do to fix them if I have problems. I actually really enjoy the inking part. Um, and I make mistakes a lot with it too. So especially at certain stages, if I'm too tired to draw and we talked about staying up late. Well, there's a point where you start making more mistakes than you should because you are getting kind of fatigued, but or you need to take a break or something. But I can line for quite a while. Just talking to another artist recently, and I've probably mentioned on here a few times. When I do a large card set, it seems pretty simple to me, but pretty sequential to me that you would pencil first, line, and then color. But not everybody does it that way. Some people just do it all at once, and or they do two steps at once, whatever. But I typically do just what you're seeing right here. I will do a pencil stage for everything. I'll draw everything on the set on pencil, and then I'll line everything. And I can line a lot faster than I can, of course, draw because it's already drawn, obviously. Just kind of going over your own work. But I am making final decisions about my artwork here, so important to be sharp at what you're doing when you're working this. It's good to have a pen you're comfortable with. You know, this one I love these Copic multi-liner pens because I know they're not going to smear with the alcohol inks I use, and I also know that I know how the felt tip feels on. Like I can control them pretty well. So all those things factor into being very comfortable with the tool. But I was discussing with that artist about the way I do it is just focus on doing all of my pencil first and then all my ink, and I might sit here and do 50 cards like this, just outlining and inking, multi-lining in one evening. But I feel a relief when I get them all done. I can move on to the next step, the next phase of that project. That is, at least, you know. Also about line weight, line weight. If you're trying to put more weight on one side or the other with this, I don't worry too much about that on my initial pass. I might go over a couple of times. I've started using more of this pen too. This is a sort of a brush pen, Tombow brush pen that's a hard tipped, and it's a good comic artist tool. But it allows me to put more line weight. I can line almost the same way with this that I can right now, but I can also put some heavy weight on lines, and I usually do it afterward because it's a water based, so it doesn't play well with alcohol. But if I do it as a final step, it really is not a problem. I found that's a really nice tool. Just connect these here. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Get this nose kind of closer. go kind of light on the lining around the hair and stuff with some of the stuff with the mustache. I want to be a little more pronounced, but I want to also keep the kind of be very. You'll notice I'm moving kind of really fine movements there. So I'm going to come back probably and highlight underneath that with not this color, but maybe a purple multi-liner, maybe this color. I don't know. We'll have to see how that looks. And that might be the wrong shade I want, but at any rate, something like that. So I'm not going to go too harsh on the black ink here. Almost give it like a Bic ballpoint pen sort of finish, or lining that way. Something kind of cheaper looking. Come here, do a couple of these. So we are looking forward to getting started on the next GPK set. I know there's rumblings about that. I'm not sure it's public now yet or not, but hopefully that's in the works. So, of course, I'm not sure what happened to vacation yet. So, we're all scratching our heads on that one. I'm really thankful I didn't, and I don't usually do this, but I didn't take any commission pre-orders on that for people for cards, because I would have been sitting here with these cards if I wanted to be on the up and up with tops on. I would have been sitting on these cards the whole time. Now, I'm sure some sketch artists have just sent them out and said, you know, just be quiet about it. But I haven't done any of them. I've still got use from the other sets, so in the works. But Chrome 4 and Vacation is just MIA right now. We'll shore up these goggles. I know they're not perfectly circles right now, but I'll make them look decent here in the end. A little bit of play there anyway. All right. It's good enough to start doing some of the filling with the coloring, I think. Keeping it kind of quick. A little bit of black on the nose. All right. Let's see. Of course, when you get all this graphite off there, if you don't do that, you're gonna have some kind of weird effect, especially if you're lighter colors on it. You're gonna gunk up your marker tips. You're gonna make the color will kind of shoot out across and look weird over this graphite. So you gotta get rid of all that. So you can use something like this, or you can use a block. Whatever works for you. Be careful not to erase over this stuff. I don't know how durable this print is. It's probably all right. Just keep an eye on your borders and stuff. Make sure you don't. Sometimes the card stock is weak and it'll rub off, so you gotta be careful. This is good stuff though, so I'm just mentioning it. Not a few sets where if you erase too hard over it, you lose your line pretty fast. So, all right, so let's start with some purples, because this guy is predominantly just white and purple. So let's start with figuring out what colors I want to use on it. Let's see. What shade here? Here's a ash lavender here. Let's see if I seems a little light, but I might start with that. Let's go with that family there. 25, which is a pale blackberry. Okay. That's pretty close to the harsher colors in his face, so the more shadowy areas like over here. So consider that. Well, thanks, Bobby. We'll see if it looks great in the end. I don't know. It's okay. I'll tell you, Hipton's a weird one for me because I started out messing with him as a like, oh no, how am I gonna draw this? Because I tell you, when I started Wacky's first time I did them, like, I'm not so sure about some of these, but they were a blast to get through. Um, so let's start with the 22, and I'll build up to the 25 and just see if I can get that one. All right. I'll just kind of get on the edges here. And I think in the end, to get the way I want, I'm going to use a pencil as well. And I've got a few over here that I've selected that I will probably end up using to darken edges and things. So keep in mind, I'm going to probably fix some of the shadowing and get some of the granular details with one of these purple pencils. But I want to build some base coats around some of the shadow areas. Just pull around the edge. Again, just edging my way up to getting it the way I want it to look. This is nowhere near as dark as it needs to be, but feather out some of these areas here where there's some wrinkles in his cap and stuff. If I do too much, we can always dial back with a white pencil or something. Paint if we got to. Either way. Let's see. Yeah, a white pencil, we can always come back in if we need to. So, might shore this thing up a little bit. I don't love that. Add a little more. That's better. A little line weight on this side of him. Can polish that up later with a white pen if I don't like that. I'll definitely be going darker closer to this. But I'm glad it died down earlier. I live near a military base, so there's there was some artillery practice tonight, so you could hear some explosions in the background, or at least rumbles of explosions. Not really explosions. Normal for me. Grew up that way, but I was thinking before I started the stream, there's a lot of booming out there. So if anybody noticed that, probably not. Yeah. I hear a lot of that sometimes. I just grew up that way and it doesn't bother me. But what a great night to live stream on a night where they're blowing up stuff for munitions or testing artillery. So, gotta get a little on that side of his head. All right. This. I think it's gonna pop more when I get that darker color in there. But for now, yeah, there we go. What we need is black or something. Maybe it's cool gray 9. Pretty close. Wow, so close it's dried up. Look at that. Not cool at all. Well, I hope that's an old one. You know, it might have been. I have this new set, and this might have been one where the cap. You'll find this with the Copic sometimes, and I may have mentioned this, and I know Bobby, you're going to know about this. Sometimes these caps on new ones, they don't snap in well, and I mean, I consider that defective, really. You can tell there's a big difference, and as you can see, it takes me it's a little hard for me to pull it off. They just don't seal good sometimes on the end. I'll find I've had a few I bought, not too many through the years, but some of them are like that. And I don't use it much, but this one here, that's dry, super dry. So, I don't know what to do about that. I guess you can contact Copic and complain about it, and they'll send you a new one. I don't know. Maybe I'll pursue that and let you know, because I'd like to find out. I bought this as a new set. It's a whole set of cool grays, but that's okay. For tonight, we can go to the 8. I know the 8's good, but I recall that in a previous time I used these, that one felt a little loose. Been doing about it. I guess I should have. I have a few tricks for fixing that, but none of them are great. If the cap is loose, it's place the cap or put a seal or something around the top of that cap. And that can be a little tricky. So, okay, so here we got kind of a similar thing going on. We got like a little bit of light cutting through right through here. So there'll be a little white strip through here, and I'll kind of blend that in a minute. But this will go to the edge. It's kind of like a little rivet right there. It's a little different on the original, but I'll put a little silver coloring right there in a minute. I can hear the artillery training still a little bit. You probably can't though, hopefully. Let's get the angle on that just right. Yeah. All right. Okay. Looking closer to what I want. So I might back down a couple from this C8. Let's go down to 5 or 4, or maybe 3. Let's see. And I'm just gonna go right there next to it. Do that. Might want to let much in there, but I just blend it. That might be a little too light. I might want to go with a little, maybe like a C5, the C5 or the C6 here, but we'll see. Always can be undone. If you've swapped the caps, yeah, I've done that before, and sometimes it's just that end of the marker. So there's the C9. You can swap them, and sometimes it's a little better. But what the problem is you see on this one, it's the cap, so that fits really good there. But guess what? Yep, so it's the cap, and that's what I found is you replace the caps. If you can do that, if you can find a dead marker that for some reason you had some dead markers or an empty one, you can put a cap on there. Also have these O-rings I've used, like these rubber O-rings I've put on there, and they'll sort of bind it and seal it. And in desperate situations, I've actually taped up the seal. Like the seal here, I'll tape it up with a piece of tape when I'm done. If I'm not going to use the end of it and use this end. So I've done it both ways in a pinch, but ultimately it's a losing battle there because eventually it'll, kind of sucks. But I've also rehydrated these. I've also put alcohol back in them, just clear alcohol solution, and rehydrated these and got them to work and put a new cap on them and did the O-ring thing I talked about. I've got one around somewhere. I should probably show that sometime. But yeah, I brought them back to life. I don't know how reliable you would consider them, but they work for me. And I didn't do anything fancy with them or airbrush with them or anything. I just used them for light marking. And eventually I replaced them. So let's try this 5 and see if that, be careful, go too far over there. See if that blends any better than the 4. 4 was working, it just took a little while. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I think in the end, what I'll end up doing here is I typically do this. I'll take a white pencil and go in the middle like this and just reinforce the light there. And you can also go ahead and grab, let's see, a gray pencil. You know, here's it's a warm. I don't want a warm gray. It's blue. It's periwinkle. Color blend here. The warm gray. Let's see if I can find. Here's a medium gray. This is what I was kind of looking for. So just a little bit of medium gray right here on the edge. Be fine. I'll come back with with a black pencil and try to blend on that side. So if you get where you just not liking that area to blend with the alcohol marker can be a little challenging sometimes. And I've done it. You know, you can fight that fight. That's fine. To save time, usually I will try to use a alcohol marker to do it, but if I'm going for a return card or something, I'll spend the extra time and do the pencil work. Use this. This is a black ivory here. Just come in there and blend up to that a little bit, and that'll be fine. Don't have to go overkill on it. The only thing is this character has so little. I would say he just has a low color palette, so where there's detail, you better do it. You know, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go to the darker purple. Let's try that. So this is the V25, the pale blackberry. Old habit there, pull both ends. If there's ever like a weird problem with the pressurization on it, it'll can prevent that from leaking everywhere. This one's never been a problem. I'm kind of conscious of which ones are problem children for me. And you can see them too swell up on the tip a little bit when they're about to drop extra ink on you. I'll go a little bit more on this, but let's see. It's pretty high contrasty on some of these spots. It's got like a little spot right here. It's like that. Yeah, you're right. Bobby's right about that. The clear blender, if you drop some of that solution there, it can bring it back to life. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I did too. Is I added in some of the colorless blender solution here, various ink stuff. I add some of that back in there. Now they say, and I'd like to try this, that this is a higher alcohol percentage level than a regular isopropyl alcohol. So isopropyl alcohol comes in different versions, a 70%, and there's a 90%. I have a 90% bottle somewhere, and I'm curious if that was pretty equivalent to what this. I don't know what the percent of this is, like the mixture of it for alcohol versus whatever the other filler is in it. But I'd be interested to find that out. I'm sure it's probably okay, but they recommend not mixing regular isopropyl, can't talk, isopropyl alcohol with as a replacement for your colorless blender. But you can pop this in one of these dry markers and bring them back to a point. I have to experiment with that a little bit. Kind of depends on how dry it is. You can put, X amount of drops in there and just kind of wait and see. I played with it about a year and a half ago, and could remember more about it then, but I had some interesting results. Brought back a few markers I had. Let's see over here. He's got like a whole bunch of over there. Here, I'll have to blend these a little bit to get them where I want them. But that's all right. or if you get too dark one place or another, you know, you can always blend that out if you don't like it. Just trying to lay down some darker ink so I can move around, and I might come back and dab it up a little bit, some spots. Before I'm done, I want to go underneath his mustache a little bit. Again, like I said before, I might actually use a multi-liner that's colored and come underneath his mustache to add a little more purple back in there. But I'm going to try this. See how I like it. All right. Touch underneath this lens here. He is pretty much like that, pretty much. Check his hat out again there. All right, and strangely enough, there's not too much of this purple in this section of his hat. I'm going to add some right here. And right under here. I'll blend it around a little bit. Could put some. So we're going to go right back to the V22, or we could go back to, go down level to V20, and that's the wisteria. One of these bushes in my yard we tore it up. Okay. I could use this to blend around. It's a little lighter than that one if I don't want to eat into my white background on his hat too much, which I don't want to. Just not super effective. Let me just sit there and spin for a minute. I'm getting a tremendous out of that. I'm not getting a lot out of that, but let's see if I can blend out some of that there. Just let it dry because it's going to dry lighter, so you'll see it's. Now I may have to come back with the white colored pencil and try to shape these areas a little bit more. Just fine. I'll come back in here to lighten some of that. This side of his face is pretty dark, but I need to lighten up over in here just a tad bit. I think. Lighten up. Still hoping to get my new internet at some point this year from Starlink from Elon, so I can stream more. But you know, again, restricted by the tether, we'll call it. So, and data plans. So I actually can do a lot with what I have. So streaming. All right. Let's go back a little bit. Hit that. Let me hit these zones a little harder again. Once you blend them out, you lose some of your saturation here, the harder lines. So you might have to go back a little bit. And this core too, it's not bleed through. It's got this. I think these have this core in them, so they're not going to bleed through as bad. If you're worried about that, they don't. Most cards would have bled through by now, I think. So sort of factor that in your approach as well. I know I'm going back over the years I just fixed, right? But I want to build that up a little bit more. Plus, taking a little liberty with it, so it's fun. All right, let's do a few things. Let's get a pencil out, and let's look at the white pencil here. Let's see what I can do over here. Just notch that out a little bit. Yeah. Do quite a lot with these cool white pencils. So. Okay. And I like that effect it gives sometimes when you go over the white pencil. You still got some of the ink sort of peering through a little bit. It's kind of what I want. Let me build the gradient a little more the way I originally had intended. So cool. And even on these hairs here, if I want to dial it back a little bit more, and kind of do that. And still, I'm going to come back and go over that with a purple pencil too and add some back. So give and take, give and take. Trying to feel it how I want it to look. All right. Let's see here. So this is pretty dark purple, as you can see there. And this is a cobalt violet from Urban Artist, the Soho brand. I like this is the heart pencils. Let's see if I have another purple. I think that's the one I wanted to play with. But here's a periwinkle looking color. It's called. Also a pretty dark purple. Let me sharpen that a little bit. Just give that a little quick sharpening here. All right, let's try that. You know, I think I like that a little bit better than this cobalt looking violet. I think this is just a little too harsh. We'll see. We'll see though. It's always an option. So I think that to me, so these are the here's the V22 I used earlier. So that's the lighter of the two. Yeah, it'll work. I think it'll work. I just want to do a little bit there, not go crazy, but add some definition here and there. But instead of the multi-line, I'm going to try this pencil on his mustache here. All right. Again, here with the white pencil where I went a little far in, I'm going to hit that with this pencil here. Take some back. Areas like this where it's already pretty dark, I'm going to go to the corner here and just really darken it up a lot. So you can get more contrast there at the edge. Same up near the hat here, where it's just supposed to be a really dark area of his hair. Same over there. He's actually got some spots over here too. Supposed to be kind of dark, but you know, I've been a little easier on it. Okay, kind of digging that a little bit there. Looking better. Now he's a character you have to do like a lot with very little because he's just again got very little coloring to work with. It's just very can be challenging if you're trying your best at it. Do a quick one, but it's a pop kind of like the original, which is a painting, but you know. I have been able to work with markers and pencils and get painting-like results before. It's not easy and it's not often, but I have been able to get close to it. It's just really hard to get in that realm with a medium that's not really equivalent to the detail you can get with paint. So let's get up in here a little more. Yeah, so that's I always just love the way that colored pencils kind of blend and work with markers. I just think it's a nice marriage of the two. You can really enhance both of these mediums with each other. So let's go underneath him a little bit. Okay. He is pretty light up to here. All right. Let's get something going with the shades here. Let's figure out what we're going to do there, and then we'll come back and maybe do something with this. Let's see. You know what I'd like to do? He doesn't have anything on his nose on the original, but I'm going to put like a little bit of a shade on one side of it. He's got some underneath it typically, but none on the side here. I'm going to add a little bit on this side since he's got the lights coming in from different angles. I don't know. We'll just add some on this side and this side like this on the nose. If I don't like it, I'll take it back off. Ensure it's nice and shiny at the end here. Okay. All right. So his shades are kind of a green, darker green kind of looking style to it. So let's play with some colors. Here's our darker green. See, that's really juiced up there. I don't know if you saw that, but something in that. Maybe sturdy. Yeah, pretty good. I can tell you I don't use this color much. So this is, wow, I don't know what that is. We'll just say it's G16. How about that? It's a weird color. All right, let's go with light first. Inks always build light to dark. This is jade green, probably too light, but we'll start there. And I'll clean up the lines here if I want to. In the end, if I need to, I'll go in with a white pen and kind of make them look more uniform, whatever. I think in the end it'll look fine. You won't care. Could have been probably cleaner with those lines, but that's all right. Wrong family. Let's stay with the greens. Here's a 14. We want to go up to a 16. That's not terrible. Not terrible. So I'm going to come in here and just kind of build beside it. So it kind of circles up to darker, and then there's like a little white dot where the light's coming in at funky. So kind of build across the lens here. And then you'll see what I'm going to do with this darker one here. Oops. You know what? That one's a little loose there too in the end, but not like the C9 I had earlier. I'll kind of just build in here like that. I'm going to leave that naturally right there. That little naturally white spot, I'll leave it for the moment. I generally come back and add it, but smarter artists leave it and use it. Quicker artists do it. So that's a really nice gradient without, you look at that without any blending or work. That looks pretty decent. I could probably even let that go, but I won't. I'll blend it just a little bit between the 14 and the 16 with this GO, so the jade green. It's not really necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. That looks really good actually right there. But let's go one darker there. Let's go to a G17. So this is forest green. Let's go a little bit darker there. His shades are super dark right there. Popping pretty good. Like that. Kind of cool. And again, I think I'm gonna not go crazy on that. Now we got this. This is 8. Jelly roll, jelly roll 8. 1/8. So just get going. Sometimes if they sit for a while, they get crust on them, and the jelly crap gets stuck. You need to clean them off here. And I like to clean them off on top of a darker color so I can see what I'm doing. You do it over here, and like you can't tell like what's going on. You can't erase it. So you just do it on top of a little swatch area you've already made. I'm kind of liking this. I don't even know if I need to do anything here, but we'll see what it looks like. It's pretty cool. Like that, and then there's a little spot here. I want to fix that up a little bit. Put a streak of this through there. It's always important to keep sort of swirling with it and moving it, because it's not, it'll kind of just sit there and start to scrape it around. You don't want to do that. All right, that's good for that. I want to do a little bit more under his nose here, shading. This looks a little bland and plain there. I want to, yeah, there we go. Get a little bit more. Those white areas out from underneath his nose there. What time we got? So it's about 10. We've been going about roughly just over an hour. We're almost done. Get this flower color, and then we'll talk about backgrounds and other stuff, and maybe some cleanup moves. Let's see. Just using this white pen to shore up some of these lines, make them a little straighter looking. Thin out a few I might want to thin out, you know. I was saying earlier, when you do some pen work, don't don't fret if you get it, you know, if you make a mistake, or for my case, I hadn't decided kind of how I wanted this to look really. I honestly hadn't fully thought about it 100%, and I still might come back and change this a little bit, but yeah, and I might not, you know, we'll see. Okay, I want that to be a little lighter for the moment. I might come in there and darken it later. There, clean up some of that. I'm okay with those lines for now. Well, let's do these. There's an area here. There's a limit to what you can do with these pens, and once you get past that limit, you'll have to start looking at doing paint. But we're not there, so I just want to shore up somehow how thick some of these lines look. I did wonders for that, those shades there, and I still might come back on the outside of that and make that look a little different. But again, always remember it's a sketch card. It's not final art, so you don't have to be perfect with it. Okay. So I'll sit on that for a little bit. I may come back later with a brush mark or a brush pen and come back and change the line weight of these shades. I'm not sure. We'll see. Do you know I want to fix that? Add a little more weight under here to this one with my multi-liner. Anyway, let's see. Add a little more weight on the bottom of this. Here. And I'm just using the same pen I used to line it initially, just going a little harder on it and kind of building that contrast line between the drawing and the background for now. Hit that again. It just depends on your style. I like to line myself a little thicker than some people. Be careful in here with your hair, what you're doing, because you already kind of went over that. And once you went over it with the colored pencil, it can be hard to undo what you're doing right this second. Just want to throw a few hairs in there. Okay, cool with him. Let's do the flower real quick. See what we get out of that. So that's a mixture of a little bit of green, of course, in the stem, almost like an egg yolk for the flower itself. Let's see. See if we can build that up here. Doesn't get much darker than that, really. The yellows. I may have to come in with an orange at the bottom. Pretty normal. Let's see what chrome orange would look like. I think that'll do it. Yeah, just what I want right there. So a little contrast. Come back to it if I don't like it in a minute. And the petals themselves, it originally looks kind of like a warmish gray around the center of it. We'll try for that. That's fine. Start with a warm gray 3. It's pretty dark. I just want to, edge around the petals a little bit, give a little shadow around them. Not a lot, but just a little. They're supposed to be white, but center there, they're a little shadow or something. All right, almost there. Got some greens in here I've already used I could use. Let's try yellow green 5. I don't use that whole lot. It's salad. I use the 6 a lot. I've stopped using the 5. I think I was able to get the 6 refills easier, so let's see if I can just put that there. And I'm going to hit it with the darker as well. Originally it's a few different colors, so let's try a more earthy tone one. So darker. This is a Willow G24. Just try to hit the edge of it a little bit. I don't want to lose all that lighter color, but I might just go to a multi-liner here. Let's see how this looks. Not loving that. Try more of an olivey color. No, that's gray. That's gray too. It's all gray. Reach across the room and you're like, they look a little different. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go to just one color a little darker here. Let's go to this pea green. Yellow green 63. Pretty much darker color. All right. I think I can live with that. And let's see. Let's just make the petals a little darker with a pencil for a second. I had this warm, it's raw sienna. No. I had a warm gray a minute. What was it? Here it is. Warm gray pencil. Just want to hit a little bit of the inside center, not too much because it's pretty dark, but just a little bit. Especially where I see that little white spot there where I didn't hit it with the marker correctly. And just give it like a little bit more there. And then yeah, okay, looks great. Can do that. All right. Let's see. Finishing stuff. I'll hit this a little bit just to give it more shadowy effect there. Like that. I think we're good on this area here. We need too much. Again, it's not going to blend any of the areas that I hit with wax, which would be anything with color pencil, but where I might have missed, I want to add, like right there, maybe I want to add a little more shadow with this lighter purple. Yeah, thanks, Bobby. So backgrounds. He gets a yellow background, sort of. I thought about maybe taping the sides and doing the inside yellow, maybe a spray it, and then do the outside red. I don't really know. Might look okay, might be too much. Don't know. I think definitely I want to do the inside, sort of sort of a yellow color. But let's see. See the yellow or red they've got them in the background, or I could do something totally different. Let's grab some tape anyway while we do that. Don't want to use that. Let's grab, but I'm not using that. Could use it. You know what? Let's use this not. I try not to use it anymore on the top stuff because it can get a little too sticky. But I'm gonna go for it. I'll use the low tack 3M tape. There's some over there, but I'll just use this tonight. It's fine. I'll try it. You think yellows are good? Yeah, I'm gonna go with the yellows. I'm questionable about the border in red. I might be like a little bit too over the top. I have done bordered red stuff before, and it looked good, but I think there's enough going on down here with this wood plate down here from the 70s, so we'll do that. You can't use this stuff, it's fine. Again, depending on the card type and quality, sometimes this will take off a little bit of the ink if it's lower quality. I've seen that happen and had to draw it back. But and I hope it doesn't happen to this, but we'll find out, right? Find out in real time. Oh, and I found my tape now, so it's over here, but oh well. That's fine. And I've got this pretty close. It's not perfect. I like to be a little more careful with that. I'll show you what I mean. Like, I like to not have any of that showing on the edge. So if I overspray, but remember, I'm gonna pretty much spray over in here. So I'm not really gonna spray his face on this side, but just for example, you always want to make sure that's not overlapping and that it's not showing on the edge of the card when you spray, because you know you can kind of fix it, but it's better to get a clean spray the first time. Especially if you're using paint. If you're using paint, you're in a lot of trouble. But ink, I can sort of cheat with ink a little bit. If I get a little extra, I can use a colored pencil, or I can blend it off a little bit and then color it, or paint the edge of the card or something. You can also just black border around the edge too. Like this one's a little hard to black border because they've got Unite Artists at the top. It sort of overlaps into the card and into the border. So anyway, enough talking about that. He's got a yellow is pretty bold. This is a Y17, Y19. This 19 is a brand new marker, so I'm going to go with this one. Let's see how it sprays first. So I always like to test spray. You can kind of see over here. Looks all right. So you know, just test spray this. And doing this, I kind of already feel like what I'm going to do. I think I've already figured it out because I like the way the sunburst kind of effect is. And if this is looking pretty decent, but I might go back with an orange and kind of just add to that. I'm just going to hit the edges a little more than I would the inside. The inside a little bit, and then just hit the edges some. And that's all you really have to do. You can go over the edges again if you want to. It'll build a nice effect. And try to stay off the other stuff. And with the marker, with the sketch markers in these, if you use the brush end, you're going to get a more pinpoint shot. Versus if you use the chisel end, you'll get more of a spray, a broad spray motion. And I don't use it much, especially in sketch carding. You kind of use the bullet tip end, the brush end, the super brush end. So I kind of like that. I can tell you right now that's going to look decent. That's what I've done. I'm going to add a little more to it though. I'm going to push the envelope and see. This is I really like this color. It's Orange Red 09 Chinese Orange. I think it's probably too dark for this, but I'm just going to spray over here to the side and see how I feel about it. You know, it's always important to spray the side. That's probably too dark, honestly. I'm going to risk it, and what I'm going to try to do is to get a little overspray, just little sprinkles of it in there. I want a little bit of sprinkle in there, so I'll just fire off to the side a little bit. Yeah, like that. Give me a little sunbursty kind of overspray effect. Same here. I'm going to spray way over here, and I'm watching and careful where I'm putting that so I don't get too much overspray on his hat or anything. And then up here, same way, I'm going to edge over a little bit and just overspray just a little bit right there. I'll try to hit the corner right there a little bit. I like that. So I think that's going to be kind of cool looking. So anyway, here's the delicate part, especially when I told you earlier, I didn't know if this tape, because this tape's a little rougher, it's regular masking tape, would it take off any of this printed on lining or decal or any of that, or whatever it might be. And you see I overspread a little bit there, but it'll be okay. Just go real easy with it. It looks like it looks looking okay. If it didn't take off that, I'm pretty happy. This stuff, the 3M stuff, comes off beautifully. It'll never damage your card or your artwork, really. But this stuff, let's see if I did okay up here. I did pretty well. Didn't no overspray on the white. It just gives you a nice clean presentation. It looks just really classy if you have it like that. And of course, down here there was really no reason to do that. Just to hold the card. And then at the top, take that off. Goes across, and there we go. Unite Artist. That's not bad. It's not bad. I can live with that. Touch of overspray here, but honestly, I don't think that matters. You probably could hit it with the colorless blender and get rid of it, but you know what? I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave that. I don't think that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that gives you a nice little sunburst effect around him. I'm not going to touch the border. I think the border looks decent. Let's see. Turn off my compressor here. The only thing I might do more of here is add a little more, let's see, multi-liner underneath the stem here and the flower. At the risk of doing too much, you know. Getting close to that point where we should just stop and not mess anything up, but you know. Why not push it a little bit? Again, you know, your preference here. You could have left this alone too, and it would look just fine. I just wanted to add a little more depth to it. But not required at all, for sure. All right. Well, I think for tonight we'll call that a night. Been on here for about an hour and a half, roughly. And I appreciate everyone hanging out with me. Thanks, Bobby B, for tagging along with me about the cards and GPK stuff. Appreciate it. Always good to see you. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Kristen. Like the yellow. That's great. It's really awesome. I really appreciate it. Kristen's such a great supporter of mine, and I have a piece of artwork coming to her soon too. I've got to work on for her. But thanks everybody for checking out the stream, for watching, and for your support. It means a tremendous amount, and I will hopefully be here back on Monday, next Monday. I plan to start streaming more again. But thank you again. Have a great evening and a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. Thank you.